Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you and Ashlyn over there. It's a beautiful day outside. Everything is going swimmingly, and yes, indeed, we have our first act of violence that can be directly linked to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I started the show yesterday just with the Charlottesville thing and everything else. I'm going to get to that just a little later on. A couple things have been happening with the Southern Poverty Law Center. I even heard Fox News today describe it as a civil rights organization. It's never been a civil rights organization. It has always been a corrupt propaganda machine for division and hate. I have also and useful, by the way, to the news media and Democrat politicians who just use the Southern Poverty Law Center's labels as a source, like an attribution, so they could get away without getting sued for smearing someone, which is why you're seeing the news media just apoplectic over what's been going on, making comparisons like, oh, they just did this with the FBI. They're just paying informants. That's not true. This is a racketeering operation. I hope these people wind up hung over what they've done to this country over the past 30-plus years. And it is really worse than you can even imagine. And, of course, we do have one for sure, almost for sure, violence linkage to that organization. And we know for a fact that these guys are bad people, whether they get convicted or not. This is an organization that needs to be blown up. And that is going to happen. But I think the fact that they have been indicted by a grand jury is enough, at least, to start the ball rolling, to discredit them once and for all and get rid of them once and for all. But I'll deal with that just a little later on. We're also going to have a special guest. I'm going to check in. I haven't checked in with him in a long time, and I'm going to touch base with Mark Kasen. You guys should stick around for that and see how that goes. It should be pretty interesting. And I'm also going to show you what's happening now in Florida as we're 2 days into the limitations on what you can buy with SNAP benefits. And some people are not having a fun time with all that. And also, remember when President Trump, and this was always a thing that you'd see from these morons on the Facebook pages and beyond, and they would say President Trump made fun of a disabled person. President Trump made fun of a disabled person when he really actually didn't. Well, now Democrats are seemingly making fun of RFK Jr.'s neurological disorder, which is creating that gravel in his voice. And so these people just have no rudder whatsoever. I do want to get to this because I just received this text, and it's very interesting. You guys, I guess it comes from me being my investigative reporter soul, you know. So I one time received a text, I'm not quite sure why, from a liberal organization, like a left-wing organization. I can't remember whether they had the wrong number or whatever. So I signed up for it, and I signed into to receive messages from the Democrat Party and obviously from the left and that kind of thing, because really what I wanted to do was I wanted to find out how these people actually talk amongst themselves as opposed to how they talk and present themselves in situations, mixed situations where they're with people like us or whatever. And, you know, it's a little bit of a snoop, really, is what it is. It's not like we can't predict that they actually are kind of awful people when they are just with each other. But it's nice to have proof. Last week, you might remember, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, my friend Rick Pogue, who, you know, is going to be on next week, but Rick Pogue, he was at an event where Wesley Bell was there. And he said, wow, Wesley Bell is a really nice guy, and we talked, and he's a congressman, obviously. He beat Cori Bush. He was a really nice guy. And I kind of joined in. I said, yeah, you know, Wesley Bell kind of seems like a normal Democrat. You know, he kind of presents himself as a normal Democrat, which is why I guess he was able to defeat Cori Bush, who is an abnormal Democrat, but kind of like a normal Democrat. To tell you the truth, I'm not quite sure there is such a thing as a normal Democrat. But every once in a while, you come up with people who appear to be kind of Marilyn in the Munster family. They seem to be like the most well-adjusted of the maladjusted. So Wesley Bell has this appearance as a middle-of-the-road guy. I've met him a couple times. I think he's a nice guy as well. So I received this text today, and I'm thinking, oh, I gotcha. So this is the real Wesley Bell. This is the real Wesley Bell. This is the Wesley Bell that, now that Cori Bush is trying to get her seat back, is trying to be just as nasty and just as errant and just as far left as Cori Bush. So why even get rid of Cori Bush if you're just going to have a guy in there who's going to be just like her but pretend he's not? So I'll read you the text. This is what I received today. And at first I'm thinking, what is this? I didn't know it was attached to a name. It was something, the first thing I saw was Trump's impeachment and impeach and remove President Trump from office. And it says James, because that's the way they refer to me. That's my secret spy name is James. James, impeach and remove President Trump from office. This is Wesley Bell, your representative in Congress, even though I'm not. Oh, yeah, I am in this district. We're in an emergency. Leaders must fight the cruelty, chaos, and corruption we're seeing. That's why I'm pushing for President Trump's impeachment and removal from office. Please begin taking my survey so I can better fight for you. Should President Trump be impeached and removed from office? Reply yes, reply no. As your representative, I'll never back down. It's time to fight President Trump's dangerous policies. That's why I've fought to defund ICE and will continue to vote against any ICE funding, push to protect Obamacare, and am fighting to pass Medicare for all, fought Trump's reckless tariffs and the corporations that are ripping people off. Please reply to begin sharing your thoughts with me and to join my updates via email, phone, and text. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll engage in this and see how things go and continue on. But that's the real Wesley Bell. That's the guy who cozies up to great conservatives like Rick Pogue and others and acts like he's just one of the gang. Like he's just like, I'm a Richard Gephardt is what I am. And Wesley Bell is just as reckless and just as feckless as Cori Bush. There's no difference in what I'm seeing here than in the policies of Cori Bush. And so he's officially now decided the best way for him to retain his congressional seat in that district is to simply talk like Cori Bush now. Instead of standing up, well, I don't know, maybe he actually does believe all this. It doesn't really matter because he's saying it. So it really doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form what he thinks. It's what he says, and he should be judged on that. The Democrats are panicking. They're now about to be exposed as it relates to the Southern Poverty Law Center. This particular story for the Democrats, unfortunately, though, I'm thinking to myself, looking back on the whole fraud thing, right, in Minnesota and all the kickbacks and all that kind of stuff, whatever became of it, all that, nothing. I thought it was actually going to help dismantle the Democrat Party because it was all basically a cabal based on funneling funds, rerouting funds, trafficking in basically stolen tax dollars and everything else, and yet nothing has become of it. The news media doesn't have any interest at all in any of this. And as I said earlier, the reason why you're seeing so much protestation from the Democrats and from the news media about the indictments of the Southern Poverty Law Center is because they've lost one of their main sources of propaganda. Now, normally I have complained about the news media and how it has such a lack of attribution, like it has anonymous sources, things like this. But the Southern Poverty Law Center offered the news media something that was golden because the Southern Poverty Law Center would smear and defame people for them. So that's why the New York Times and other organizations, every time I saw somebody quote the Southern Poverty Law Center, I was like, wow, how do you guys not know how corrupt this organization is? And what's interesting, too, is I also heard, aside from the fact that somebody called it a civil rights organization, which it absolutely is not, somebody also said it duped its donors, which is also untrue. Everybody giving money to the Southern Poverty Law Center knew exactly what the Southern Poverty Law Center was up to. They knew its hate map and all that kind of stuff was just a means of smearing and defaming people and fomenting division and violence. Everybody who gave money to the Southern Poverty Law Center knew exactly what the Southern Poverty Law Center was doing and should not be somehow separated from that. They were paying people to create violence. They were paying people to present a view of America that did not exist. Oh, and we were told, yeah, Russian propaganda on Facebook. It's like, nah. Russian propaganda on TikTok. Nah, it's coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center. And so in providing like CBS News with a source to call somebody a hate group, they went wild on it. They would be able to use it and everything else. That's why if you go on X or anything else, you can see all the news media people bitching about the indictments of the Southern Poverty Law Center because they've lost a source. They can't use, no one now is going to use the Southern Poverty Law Center as a source of information about somebody else. So here's where, and I think we're going to find out more as they start to depose internal emails and contacts with people. Almost assuredly, they have had contact with people like Chuck Schumer. Almost assuredly, they have had contacts with people like the members of the news media. As I told you yesterday, almost assuredly, members of the news media and politicians knew that the Tiki Torch guys were all fake. They were all paid, and they were all brought there by the Southern Poverty Law Center. The news media had to know that. When you saw a bunch of people popping out of the back of rental trucks, acting like they were right-wing conservatives protecting the country, any normal person would look at that and say that's not an accurate presentation. So let me tell you the one, and we're gonna get to more pieces of violence that can be traced to the Southern Poverty Law Center. This isn't going away, whether people ignore it or not. It's not going away. So there, you guys remember 2012. You guys remember the shooting at the Family Research Council in D.C. The office is there. And the Family Research Council was a conservative group of people who actively pursued protections of life and things like that. But you get the picture. The Southern Poverty Law Center designated the Family Research Council as a hate group. And so a guy went in there, because otherwise nobody knows what the Family Research Council is normally, unless, of course, it becomes reported that it's a hate group. And that became news, that the Southern Poverty Law Center has named the Family Research Council a hate group. So every time the Southern Poverty Law Center released its hate findings, the Family Research Council and other people would be on its list. And this was obviously a means of creating an environment that politicians could use in their campaigns, that the media could use to try to embarrass people and do whatever, and that our political structure and media structure could use to destabilize this country. And you all know that the media and many people in politics thrive off of a destabilized country, particularly one that is beset with social unrest and things like that. So they love a destabilized country, which is why they loved the Southern Poverty Law Center when it helped destabilize the country and pitted people against each other and basically put targets on the back of organizations that were making a difference in people's lives. The Family Research Council offices were invaded by a guy who came in with a gun, and he, after his arrest, he had a hit list, and he talked about how he needed to put the Family Research Council out. He eventually shot an unarmed security guard at the Family Research Council, or somebody. It was armed security, and they shot him or put him out or managed to subdue him or something like that. But nonetheless, the Family Research Council, you go back to 2012, that can be inextricably linked, because that was the same time that the Family Research Council decided they were going to name the Family Research Council as a hate group, and so that's how we wound up getting that piece of violence. There's no way that that's the first and that's the only moment of violence that can be directly linked to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I think there are other organizations like them, and I'm hoping that Kash Patel and the FBI are continuing to tackle these people and get to the bottom of this, because these people have been absolutely, in my opinion, a destructive force in this country, and trying hard to continue to be a destructive force in this country. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that. Ashlyn, for whatever reason, my music isn't playing. So if you have any music, oh, here it is. There it is. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. What is this? Okay, that's Fergie. Never mind.
Yeah.
Just be lucky I don't have a blowtorch, because I couldn't. If I did that, then of course I wouldn't be able to continue the show the way I want to do it, because my computer wouldn't be working. But for some reason this isn't playing, so I don't know. If you have something else, let me see if this one plays. There, that one plays. For some reason my compilations aren't playing. I don't know. I didn't go to rehearsal. I don't have time for this kind of stuff. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Common Sense Radio. Dr. Cordy Williams, the Megaphone Marine. Welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in a long time. Dr. Cordy and I used to travel the land of the USA in the Stop the Steal rallies. Those were the days, man. It is Common Sense Radio. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy to be with you. This is the 3 Martini Lunch.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Do you know why I endorse Cafe Napoli, all the locations? Visit any of them, and you will quickly appreciate the quality of food, service, atmosphere. So maybe I'll see you at Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli Kirkwood, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Or maybe you'll find me at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. Now you know why I endorse Napoli, NapoliSTL.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I truly believe if you're accused of something, may be charged with a crime, despite all the facts you're innocent until proven guilty. Yet there are times when my faith is truly tested. Perfect latest example, Florida Congresswoman Sheila McCormick. Make that former Congresswoman, she's resigned, saying she's facing a witch hunt, but is resigning in the best interest of those who put her in office. A grand jury indictment involving $5 million against her. Allegedly, She and her family health care service during COVID got $5 million of FEMA overpayment. They allegedly got a tax accountant to help hide the money, allegedly gave some to family and friends, who allegedly funneled it back to her. And she allegedly used a lot of it to buy jewelry and whatever else she wanted. The thing about this kind of investigation, there's a paper trail of where the money went and how it was used. Of course, all of this could be trumped up, no pun intended, trumped up against her. But those numbers, that documentation, well, at this point, she is still innocent. But if convicted, faces 50 years in prison. Did the witch hunt catch a witch? Allegedly catch a witch?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
The Allman Report, sponsored by Gemini Wealth Group.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you. Ashton White there. And just a little later on, we're going to see how the other half lives. Yes, we will. Dr. Cordy. Yeah, seems like forever ago. Text you later, stud. Great energy as always. Yes, indeed. We had fun together. It was me and Cordy. It was kind of coinciding with what Dr. Eric DePuty was doing with the exposing the COVID health lies and stuff like that. So we had not only rallies in defense of common sense health, but we also traveled around to stop the steal rallies all across the country. And I even was with Dr. Cordy when I went out to California for the Recall Gavin Newsom campaign. Those are good times, man. So Cordy knew a person who was with the. I told you that's my computer just whacked out again. Do you see that? Yeah, just stopped. Just one of those things. So what would happen is we'd go out and we would the Recall Gavin Newsom things were a little bit harder and a little more troublesome because there weren't a lot of Californians were kind of still, in that mode where they were still shell shocked by COVID, and they weren't quite as upset with Gavin Newsom as they would ultimately come to be. And when I was out there, I thought almost for sure that we would be in a situation where I would be able to kind of pick up on this vibe that I always felt California had, which is I call it the Gold Rush Republican vibe. So Californians, were participatory in a tax revolt at one point, and so it's there, it's in the blood. They gave us Ronald Reagan, they gave us Richard Nixon, and this Jarvis guy who did the tax revolt, and even to a certain degree, even though he wound up being a squish, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's possible to have reasonable people in California, and I love California. California is a beautiful place. I love the rustic nature of it, but also I love the beautiful ocean and everything else. And there's Santa Barbara is gorgeous. That's where the Reagan Ranch is. I took my son, Aiden, out there several times for the Young America's Foundation stuff. They're kind of like a little bit like Turning Point USA, just specifically for kids, though. So it was really a great time. So anyway, we had a good time out there and traveling around. So Dr. Cordy, yeah, let's chat later on. All right, we are in the first couple of days of the new Florida SNAP benefit rules. And so far, people are not liking the new SNAP benefit rules. And an outfit to First Coast News decided they were going to do a story on the reaction to the new SNAP rules.
Tonight, new restrictions on SNAP benefits are now in effect across Florida. Benefits will no longer cover items like soda, candy, or cookies. More than 160,000 people in Jacksonville rely on the program each month, with benefits averaging about $190 per person. Our Christina Burgess is joining us now, and Christina, limits on what can be purchased, that's raising concerns.
Yeah, that's right, Anthony. For many Jacksonville families, SNAP benefits are essential. But
now keep in mind, I have long supported the SNAP program and the food stamp program. I have always felt like if you're going to steal my income, giving it to people on a temporary basis who might be down and out is not a bad thing. I really don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem with, though, how it can be used. And I think that's my prerogative. I think that's every taxpayer's prerogative. And so people in Florida here are now complaining. And this is what's going on.
Access to healthy, affordable food isn't always easy. With new restrictions on what can be bought, some say it's adding more challenges.
Keep in mind, this person who they're going to interview is one of those claiming that for some reason, in some way, shape, or form, that the healthy food is hard to find, and that's a lie. Healthy food is not hard to find. It can be sometimes expensive. More expensive than just simply processed food in a bag. But here you go.
Now I'm being told what I can buy and what I can't buy. And I don't think that's right.
Rhonda Jackson is one of thousands in Jacksonville who rely on SNAP benefits each month. She says the new restrictions are already making grocery shopping more difficult.
I couldn't even get Arizona, V8 juice, or Welch's juice.
Yeah. 3 things that are terrible for you. Arizona tea, the sweetened Arizona tea. Come on. The Welch's juice. What are you out of your mind? You can't find you mean you can't find? Don't drink Welch's juice. Drink some other juice. Drink or do what a lot of people do, and that is they might buy something and then put a couple drops in some water and get the taste, and that's it. And quite possibly among the worst things you could possibly ingest is V8 juice. V8 juice is so sky high in sodium, in sugar, and everything else. A lot of people think, oh, I'll just have a V8. I'll just have a V8 tomato juice. You're killing yourself. And the fact of the matter, and especially with your stupid Arizona tea, I don't even buy Arizona tea. So it's a situation where, and how are you feeding a family with Arizona tea and Welch's grape juice? So believe me, you can find other things to feed your family. To me, obviously, an Arizona tea is a luxury, to tell you the truth. But that doesn't matter. If that's what you want to, if that's what you like to eat, whatever, that's fine. I just don't want to pay for it. And the reason why I wouldn't want to pay for it as a taxpayer is I'm more than happy to help you with your groceries since they're stealing my tax money anyway. I'm more than happy to help you with your groceries, but I'm not going to help you buy groceries so that I later can pay for your high blood pressure medicine or your fat pills or whatever else it happens to be. So if I'm going to buy you food as a taxpayer, I'm not going to buy you food that's going to make me on the hook for paying also for your health problems as a result of the fact that you're buying crappy food. It makes all the sense in the world.
With my food stamps.
Under the new rules, recipients can no longer use benefits to buy soda, energy drinks, candy, and ultra-processed desserts like snack cakes and cookies.
Yeah, because that's not food. That's not food. And if you're feeding your family on snack cakes Arizona tea and Welch's grapefruit juice, I don't want to pay for it. And also, you're being irresponsible. There's certainly many other ways that you can feed your family. And believe me, you know, I'm the one who always talks about growing up in a house where there was hardly even a cookie. Ginger snaps was about as fancy as it got for us. And my mom made sure that there was the most minimal amount of sugar in the house. And everything else, and so that's how we did it. And she made food in bulk. And again, I'm not trying to be an old, crabby boomer here. I'm just saying that you can do it. You can do it. I mean, my mom made us. We had one time for her birthday. It was great. I think it was her. Maybe her 90th birthday or 85th birthday, whatever. I decided I held a party for her and decided I was going to make all the things that she made us to eat for dinner because she would feed us in bulk. So we had things, and I'm not saying these are the greatest for you, but they were, it was, mostly natural ingredients. We had, she made cream chip beef, which was otherwise known as, on a shingle, right? She made creamed eggs, which I love to this day. And I made some pretty good creamed eggs. So my mom used to make creamed eggs, and then we would have she'd take pieces of toast, like half pieces of toast, and smush them into a cupcake tin, bake them for a little while so they get a little crispy, and then take them out and put them on a plate, and she'd pour the creamed eggs over the little toast squares or triangles or whatever they were. We had that. She'd make a big-ass meatloaf, that we'd eat off of all week long, whatever. And lots of chili, things like that. So we had a fun time making that kind of food. But you can do that, and if your challenge is you're going to feed your family or feed yourself, I'm not buying you Hostess ding-dongs. I'm not going to do it, and you shouldn't expect me to. I'm sorry. Well, healthy food's hard to find. It's like, well, you're finding snack cakes. There's got to be healthy food somewhere in the same place, unless you're shopping at, Jay's Market on the corner. I mean, that's about it. But still, you can go to. It's designed to have people go to a grocery store and buy good food.
The changes went into effect on April 20th. Jackson says confusion at checkout has added to her frustration as both customers and store employees adjust to the changes.
I feel like we should be able to choose.
Yeah, well, I feel like you shouldn't. And it's my money, says the Floridian. So it's kind of like really interesting how people, everything has to be adjusted around them. Oh, it's hard to check out because everybody has to adjust to the changes. Well, too damn bad. Think of all the changes that people have to adjust to when part of their paychecks are taken out for other people. Everybody has to adjust, all right? I mean, come on.
Because all food is healthy. It's whether or not you indulge in it.
No. I mean, I get what she's saying. She's trying to pull a Ben Franklin here, and she's saying that all food is healthy, and it's like it's just a matter of indulging it. So she's like, well, Welch's grape juice is healthy as long as you just don't drink the whole bottle of Welch's grape juice. That's actually not true. And the V8 and the Arizona tea. I get what she's saying because you know how Ben Franklin always talked about moderation in all things, but this isn't one of those examples. I'm sorry to say, dear, but I mean, nice try and everything, but
State officials say the goal is to encourage healthier eating and better align SNAP benefits with nutrition guidelines to combat hunger.
Yeah, that's right. That seems very reasonable. That they were created to align these kinds of food programs and these kinds of things with the goals of the administration and the country, which always should be the goals, and that is to make sure people are healthy.
I've seen an uptick in the people that come to the resource center looking for food.
Dr. Eva Hardrick's nonprofit Northside Community Involvement distributes about 15,000 pounds of food each month to Jacksonville families.
They do need to eat healthy and be able to feed a family.
Hardrick says while healthy options are important, getting them isn't always easy. She says transportation challenges and limited grocery store access can make it hard.
Okay, so I'm trying to put this together because they're talking about how it's hard to access healthy food and then limited driving capabilities, and so people are buying Arizona tea and Welch's grape juice instead. Is that what I'm supposed to believe? Because I don't buy it.
A lot of times they're asking for fresh fruits, but they will take whatever it is that we have at the time. Sometimes I will take from my house and bring to help support some of the things that they're asking for.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, too. You can buy fresh fruit. I mean, if you can buy Arizona tea, you can buy fresh fruit. I mean, I don't understand what this all is, but even the bottom line is, it seems to be working. It's an absolutely laudable goal, and just in the fact that one woman, and I have sympathy for her in terms of just how things are going and what's happening in terms of her life. I get it, having to need benefits like that. It's not always easy and everything else, but the reality is, in the end, the goals of this program are to keep people like her and her family healthy so they don't become a burden later on, because that's part and parcel to the crisis that we have in our health situation. As you can see just by walking the streets, people are unhealthy, and ultimately we have to pay for that kind of stuff, and I think people just don't want to anymore. So I'm not gonna lie about that V8 juice either. Well, it's V8 vegetable juice. It's like, yeah. Bunch of ground up carrots and 7 pounds of sugar and 300,000 milligrams of sodium. That's how it's going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. Coming up, stay tuned in the 1 o'clock hour. We're going to conduct our usual experiment on the left. That's all that's coming up here on the 3 Martini Lunch.
News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Window World, and I love these guys. It's a hometown company. The Window World is right in Earth City. I know that sometimes you think these people with the 800 numbers, are some national organization, whatever. No. They're right there. Their warehouse is right there in Earth City. John Gillette and the team are right there. Their offices are right there. They're wonderful people. I'm getting involved with them. One of the great examples is they are doing a charity event because that's what they do, help the community whenever they can. And they're doing a charity event to help with autism. And I'm going to be part of that, which is going to be a ton of fun because I'm donating this Kurt Warner plaque to them, and then a studio visit here at the station for 4 people. And a lot of times those silent auction things go really well. And so I'm getting involved in their charitable pursuits. And I love these guys. I love the kind of culture they have, not only in helping the community, but also just in having a really fantastic product and a really great brand. Window World, thermally superior to all the rest. It's beautiful. It's double paned. You have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval for the Window World window. And, of course, Qualified Remodeler Magazine says it's the #1 selling window. But you know what? You don't have to believe Qualified Remodeler Magazine. You can just talk to me who is showing homes. I'm going to be showing homes this afternoon. A couple of them are going to be rehabbed homes. I guarantee you I'll find Window World windows in those homes because they're not only price performers, they're also beautiful, really super sturdy. So when the person comes to your house to show them to you, you can say, hey, please stand on that window and see what's happening. And the window will not break. That is the Window World promise. And Window World loves its windows so much, it's also going to give you a lifetime warranty on the window. Parts, labor, breakage, all that kind of stuff. Window World, 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitandtackle.net.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Colombo and Company.
3 weeks to go in the 2026 Missouri legislative session, and it finally looks like we're making progress. We'll get an update Thursday with Senator Nick Schroer, plus Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, and Dr. Randy Tolbert.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Clayton Sleep Institute.
No, this is how this song started. Tricked by Pearl Jam again. Trying to take me into that dark zone. Why did you need that little bit of there, dude? Seriously, I love Pearl Jam, but let's start my show out with something like that, people. Let's get something off here, right? Yeah. Yeah, you know, see, I would get a new computer, Ashlyn, but I have to buy a new computer for Natalie for college next year, so I've got to take it as it comes, you know what I'm saying? But I'd get rid of this thing right away. I'd light it on fire. So Tuesday, June 2nd, you guys, this is going to be fun. The Hammond Center for Free Enterprise and the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee going to be hosting a live debate at Lindenwood University at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. It's a great place if you guys have never been there before. So we're going to have the St. Charles County executive candidates, Jason Law, Bill Eigel, incumbent Steve Allman, taking questions from a panel well-versed on the St. Charles County issues. And it's all going to be live here on the radio station. So you can either go there to the Scheidegger Center and see it. I'm going to be moderating it, so I'll be hosting it basically moderating it and then hosting it for the radio station as well. So honor to be doing that. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Program starts 6:30. And the debate begins live on News Talk STL at 7 o'clock. Sponsored by Mid-Rivers News Magazine and the Lewis and Clark Pachyderm Club. Just go to newstalkstl.com for all of the info about that. You know, I've never really claimed that I am much of a mathematician. I'm not even close to being a mathematician. So, in fact, I got a 390 on my SAT when I was a kid. So that's really low. So math, I understood geometry better because geometry was more visual. I also understood more about, rationalizing things and, common sense type of stuff. And if A equals B and B equals C, I knew all that kind of stuff, but the other stuff I didn't really know. So I'm no expert, but I'm not quite sure I'd want Sonny Hostin as my math teacher either. We'll see. We'll see what she...
I just read that this war is estimated to have already cost us $50 billion. $50 billion, which is more money than this country has spent since World War II. And then in 2027, this president...
Okay. Wow. That would be great if that were actually true. If actually it were true that $50 billion is more money than the country has spent since World War II, that would be great. So she's also claiming that the $1.5 trillion defense budget is more money than we have ever spent as well. So her math doesn't stop there.
For $1.5 trillion for defense, which would be more money spent in modern history on war.
Yeah. Okay. So let's try to break this down. I'm not going to necessarily be in a situation where I'm going to be the expert on all of this. But the fact of the matter is that's a total lie. The money we have spent since World War II really cannot be necessarily quantified by that time. But one time, if you just pull out an abacus or something, $500 billion is a lot more than $50 billion, and it's estimated that $500 billion is probably about the money you could put up since World War II. But even that number seems a little low, considering the United States has appropriated $174 billion to the Ukraine military since February of 2022. So nice try there, Sonny. I think you need to go back. I don't know who's putting together your math numbers there, but my goodness gracious. I don't know whether they even care, because nobody's out there really correcting them except little old us, right? All right, it's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington.
The Trump administration sending mixed messages about when gas prices will drop. Here's White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
Trump cabinet member Chris Wright said this week that gas prices might not drop below $3 a gallon until next year. But President Trump told the Hill newspaper that his energy secretary was totally wrong. The next day, Secretary Wright was asked about his prediction during congressional testimony.
I don't know the future of energy prices. Often I will speculate or look at those things. I would say gasoline prices looks like they peaked about a week or so ago.
The president himself has acknowledged that gas prices could remain high through Election Day in November. Greg Clugston, Washington.
There has been a resumption of Russian oil flow through the Druzhba oil pipeline. More on that from Karen Chamis.
Slovakia's economy minister announced on Thursday that the flow of Russian oil to Slovakia through the Druzhba pipeline that crosses Ukraine has resumed. The resumption of oil flow in the pipeline is a breakthrough in an issue that has caused a major diplomatic spat in Europe. The development is expected to unblock a large financial assistance package for war-ravaged Ukraine. Populist Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico welcomed the move, calling it.
And that is Karen Chamis reporting. Tesla's profits rose in the first quarter as car sales rebounded.
Electric vehicle maker says it earned $477 million in the quarter, up 17% from a year ago. CEO Elon Musk has repeatedly said that Tesla's future lies less in selling cars and more in getting people to take rides in them as self-driving taxis. The company notes it has started producing its so-called cybercabs without pedals or steering wheels. And Musk teased that a new manually driven roadster could debut in a month or so. Rich Thomason reporting.
More at townhall.com.
I talked to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Breezy and warm today with a high in the mid-80s, way above normal, and it should be a dry day. But overnight tonight, late tonight, and into tomorrow morning, a line of showers and thunderstorms rolls through, some with some heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning. And then it looks like a lull during the day, an isolated shower possible, but another round moves through during the evening hours. The good news is the rain moves out for Saturday. Should be nice with highs in the 70s, and Sunday looks mainly dry too. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Colombo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free Market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the Free Market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson. Mario's Donut Restaurant, that's your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches, omelets, delicious gyros, and Mexican dishes, to their revamped menu with cannolis, tiramisu, baklava, and danishes. And don't forget those famous donuts. Dine in or carry out, Mario's friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention Newstalk STL when you visit, or just visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here and Ashland over there. And I had to, when I drove back from Jefferson City this morning, Sean at Grasser was at my house and he was taking care of business. And I'll talk to you about this in a little bit because I had a whole list of things. But I had to go. I forgot to get this porch light that I needed to get put in there. And so I went to Home Depot, and first of all, it was like it was a Sunday. It was so crowded. It was like about 10 o'clock in the morning. And I got my thing, but I've noticed that when I've gone to Home Depot the last couple of times, they did go there for some gardening stuff. I did notice that anybody who is Mexican or whatever, if I walk, I'm walking through the parking lot to my car, and I might come around a car, and then these Mexicans around their car, they look at me like I'm about to arrest them or something. I'm not kidding you. It's like kind of crazy. I'm like, it's all right, guys. I mean, I'm dressed normally, you know. Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't talked to him in a while. His name is Mark Kasen. I know you guys have missed him too. But before we start, Mark, I'm gonna try to just give you a tip on how to talk to young women who still have an ounce of faith in humanity left. Okay? So, like when Ashlyn calls you to put you on the air, instead of saying, "I'm here," you should say, "Hi, Ashlyn. How are you? Nice to talk to you. I hope everything is going well for you. And I am privileged to be on the show. Nice to hear your voice. I'll just be on hold here for a little while until you guys are ready for me." How does that sound?
I'll tell you, I will do that from now on if you admit, like Tucker Carlson, that the man that you supported is a complete maniac.
Wait, so
and then you apologize.
So let me
and
ask.
Then I'll do it. And then I'll do what you suggest.
No, but why wouldn't you naturally? I'll get to the Tucker thing in a second. But why wouldn't? I mean, you teach young people, right?
That's true.
Okay. Do you talk to them like that too? Like so curtly?
Actually, yes.
Oh.
Because when you say curtly, I mean, I'm just natural. I don't treat anybody any differently. I'm very nice to everyone. I'm courteous. I don't, beg for your forgiveness when, I just answer the telephone.
I get it. I mean,
okay.
I think that there's a vibe that you give off that isn't pleasant, and I know that you're a nice person because I've known you for a long time. I know deep down inside, there's an ounce of humanity in you. So I've always known you to be maybe even sentimental. There may be even a sentimental part of you. I've seen you with
that's true.
Kids before and everything else. I'm just trying to figure out why. Do you just think that we're just one big monolith of Nazis, and so you just treat everybody that way? Because you
are part of a monolith of Nazis.
You don't even know.
But possibly not your assistant there. She may not be. And the other thing is that America is a monolith of Nazis.
Yeah, my assistant.
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised you didn't say my secretary. Gee whiz, what's wrong with you? I mean,
is she your assistant?
No, she's not nobody is my assistant. She's my fellow employee, and she's the producer of the show.
Oh, well, she's that.
I don't have
the producer's
assistants.
an assistant. The producer's an assistant. I could have said your phone answerer, but that was...
No, I'm glad you didn't do that either, because she's not actually a phone answerer. She's a phone caller.
You see?
So
okay, there you go.
What's going on behind you?
I'm at a school,
Oh, tell them to shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so anyway... all right, so back to the Tucker Carlson thing is funny because I'm sure that was even shocking to people like you guys in your realm, wasn't it? I mean, because
no, we're not shocked.
Oh, okay. So
you'll all come around to that very shortly.
Yeah, as you're frog marching us to federal prison, is that correct?
Well, that's one way of you putting it, but you just pointed out the Mexicans who think that you come to get them, and that sort of reminds me of what the Jews thought in Germany.
Well, that's why I ordered a shirt from Amazon that has ice on the front of it, so that whenever I want to kind of clear the lines of Home Depot so I don't have to wait too long, I'm just going to wear my ice shirt and see how much everybody flees, and then I can go right to the checkout.
Just put SS up there. That'll be fine.
Yeah, whatever. But tell you, Tucker Carlson is another story because Tucker Carlson, that was crazy to me because two things cannot be true at once. So one thing has to be true. Either Tucker Carlson was a phony in the very beginning or is a phony now. So I can't figure out which one it was.
Well, that's true of all of you guys. I mean, it's how about Marco Rubio? How about the vice president of the United States who said that Donald Trump is a Nazi?
But that's where that's where we learn. But you eventually learn. I've always been a Trump supporter, I would never wind up apologizing for anything because he hasn't done anything but make America great again and make life better for so many Americans and make life more aligning with common sense as far as I'm concerned. And even though I know you don't care about this, he is ending a 47-year war so that we don't have to go to the Middle East anymore. Now we're best buds with all the robes over there in Arab country. And so everything is fine.
Well, first of all, that's crazy. Iran is crushing us, and very, very shortly he will crawl out with his tail between his legs because they are going to control the Strait of Hormuz as long as they want, and they have done things to the United States and the world that have never occurred under anybody else because this man is a weak fool who loses on everything he does. You know the old story about everything he touched dies.
But that's not true. But that's not true. Yeah. And Iran is not crushing us. Basically, they're living like the Flintstones right now. And if they don't watch out, that the mullahs are going to be no more, and we're going to adopt all of the regular nice Persians that the mullahs have either executed or suppressed. I'm surprised you, of all people, would stand with a bunch of Shiite crazies who have killed Americans, Europeans, and other Arabs over the past 50 years. I'm surprised that you would stand with that, especially since you don't like Nazis and you don't like people who commit acts of genocide, obviously, and yet you're standing with Iran? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because they're the only people in the world who have shown the courage to stand up for democracy against one of the most authoritarian dictators in the history of the world. And his name, of course, is Donald J. Trump. You know,
wait. You're saying that the mullahs are standing up for democracy?
Yes, they are standing up for me and you. Because in the United States, everybody else is afraid.
No, they're not. They're not standing up for me and you. And they were just about to execute 8 women if it weren't for President Trump. And you guys who champion yourselves as being protectors of women and everything else, even though I know that's not true, didn't raise a finger about it. They would have been dead if you guys. I don't understand how you guys can. It's almost like I can't believe you really believe that. Like people will sometimes ask me, like, does Mark Kasen really believe that? I go, yes, I guarantee you, he says this. He's not just appearing as a foil. He actually believes this.
I only say what I believe. But look, he attacked, that is Donald, Ketanji Brown Jackson today, saying that the only black Supreme Court justice is a low IQ, blah, blah, blah. I probably can't even say the words because every other word out of his mouth now is the F word. You know, he's a very sick man, Jamie.
No, Ketanji Brown Jackson, like a lot of people we're seeing now coming out of the woodwork, including Ilhan Omar and all these other people, they're really damaging the whole concept of affirmative action and everything else because and listen, I know there are a lot of white males who can make mistakes and be stupid, but now we know there are a lot of minorities who make mistakes and can be stupid. And unfortunately, it's always been felt that minorities somehow are void of any kind of possibility of being stupid and are all superior to white people when all we're learning now is they're no different than white people. This has been a really great tale that supports Martin Luther King's original vision for the content of character as opposed to color of the skin. He should have used content of your brain too. But nonetheless, I think it's good when we have really stupid minorities that are revealed before our very eyes because I think it's good for smoothing everything out in society.
Yeah. You know, you're pretty close to me because what you just said is very similar to what I believe that we've learned through this whole 10-year period about, for example, the German people. You know, I always thought that there was something wrong with the German people, but I've learned differently. We're no different. In fact, we will, if we get the chance, we'll murder Hispanics. We'll wipe out black rights. I mean, you realize that the reason that Trump was attacking Ketanji Brown Jackson today is because she's about to say that birthright citizenship applies to black people who, according to the President of the United States, should be, just like in Dred Scott, not allowed to have citizenship in the United States.
Wait.
All of this is crazy.
Can I just stop down for a second and try to machete my way through that jungle of ridiculousness? Because first of all, if Ketanji Brown Jackson supports the 14th Amendment as something that is for black people, then invariably birthright citizenship for other people. This will reconfirm that birthright citizenship, just for somebody who comes over here and poops out a baby, is not going to be held up. I mean,
the idea was
if you can believe it,
to black people with everybody else.
No. If you can believe, I guarantee you.
Read the words.
I truly believe what's going to happen with this whole thing is that the Supreme Court is going to reaffirm the original intent of the 14th Amendment and then throw it back to Congress to make its adjustments on the citizenship issue and that kind of thing. But they will reaffirm the original intent. If you can believe it or not, Ketanji Brown Jackson may actually be an originalist, just like John Roberts. But I think that's how this is going to go. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to just cut down the 14th Amendment. They're going to reaffirm the 14th Amendment as an original document intended for slaves.
Yeah, but honestly, why can we have this conversation with, some other things that we throw in that, are a little bit, tongue-in-cheek once in a while? But Donald is the fool who is out here calling the Supreme Court names, going to Supreme Court oral arguments, staring the justices down to try to get them to do his bidding. This man was out supporting Viktor Orban, who was destroyed in Hungary. I mean, don't you see where this is going?
But the guy they did elect, though, is still a right of center politicians. I mean, he's still
he's conservative.
Orban was just I guess he had some issues with some other things aside from philosophy. But the guy who beat him is not more liberal than he is. That's for sure. But but
he's not in Putin's pocket like Orban and Trump.
No, nobody's. Let me ask you something. So you didn't believe just that President Trump had the right to go and sit in the Supreme Court situation?
He has the right. He has a right. Hey, listen, this man has rights that he doesn't even understand that we all have. But yeah, he had the right to be there.
Okay,
but going there and doing what no other president in history has done, which is number one, to go to one of those arguments, which is fine to go. But he was trying to stare down the justices in order to get them to do what he wants. It's a sickness, Jamie, and you will admit it eventually.
No, no, because that's not anything I would ever have to admit. It's not going to be that situation. You guys are just going to have to admit by the time 2026 rolls around, the election there, the midterms, and 2028, you guys will not have the White House for probably about 25 more years. And so you're going to have to get used to it. And now you're not going to be able to have the Southern Poverty Law Center to do all your dirty work for you. So you guys are going to have to smear people all on your own and face defamation. So it's going to be hard for you. You've lost one of your great allies in defamation and in creating and fomenting violence and hate, and that's the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has never been a civil rights organization. And the
one
ADL,
of the organizations in history.
The ADL ought to be next. I hope they indict every single one of those people too.
Yeah. Well, first off, it'll go the same place that all of the other Department of Justice accusations goes, which is into the trash can, because they can't even get a grand jury to approve true bills against people that they try to put through these insane legal processes. But even grand juries won't go along with it when, as we always say, they'll go along with a ham sandwich, right?
Well,
they'll indict a ham sandwich, but they won't indict the people that are picked by Trump's people.
It's funny when
it's against the law.
It's funny when you talked about when back in the day when President Trump was indicted by grand juries, you guys always sung the praises of grand juries. You guys always talked about no one is above the law. Grand juries it's a jury of the peers. And then suddenly, when a grand jury indicts one of your flying monkeys, you guys all go nuts on the grand jury. Oh, you can indict a ham sandwich. This is nothing.
No. That's not what I said. What I said is you can't indict all of these people, like John Bolton and those guys, because the cases against those, Comey and so the cases don't even exist. Listen, anybody can get indicted. Let's see what happens when you get through a courtroom. But we know what's happened to Donald. Donald, number one, has been found to have raped a woman.
Okay, Mark.
Who he now has to pay $100 million.
That is not true. President Trump was not found to have raped anybody. You need to be careful because you can get sued yourself. By the way,
Come and get me, Trump.
It doesn't matter.
Come
Yeah,
and get me.
I'm sure you'd love that.
I would love it.
Yeah, I know.
I've asked you before.
Yeah, you'd have your
Call somebody you know.
Yeah. You want
Call somebody you know. I want them to come after me. Do you know that? That the sheriff? Okay, and you like Sheriff Montgomery, right?
Who?
I mean, you interviewed.
Oh,
Alfred
yeah. I mean,
Montgomery.
he kind of didn't tell me the truth on the phone, but yeah.
Well, he did tell you the truth, and he's been in jail now for 8 months without a trial, without accusations, because Donald Trump put him there because Bailey went to Washington.
Yeah, okay.
Big deal.
Enough of that. Let me ask you something about local things, because Dave put something on the Facebook page here that I thought was really interesting, and it's local, and I think you know Megan Green, right?
Very well.
Okay, so Dave, yeah, I know, because Dave says, did you see Megan Green's Facebook post calling for St. Louis citizens to not go to work, school, or shop on May 1st, which is May Day, obviously?
Sure.
Dude, I'm telling you, for some reason, even when we get what seemingly could be normal people in the city government, they still wind up being totally and completely abnormal. I just saw what Wesley Bell did because he's afraid of Cori Bush. He's Mr. Impeachment now. He wants to impeach, defund ICE. He's no different than Cori Bush. It's like, you guys, your shelf life is so short when it comes to just being normal sometimes.
First of all, I know you realize this. We haven't discussed this one bit. In 6 months, when Congress switches to Democrats, what you're going to see in this country, you are honestly not going to believe. Because, first of all, the subpoenas will be flying. Donald will be so hidden, he will find a cubbyhole somewhere because the lawyers will be coming after him at every turn. Eisen and Painter have over 100 lawsuits against him for all the money that he's stolen. His cryptocurrency business in today's reporting is going under. I mean, the man is
well. I'm gonna let you get back to your tree because the Keebler elves are waiting for you. So everything will be fine in your land of fantasy. So I'm just gonna let you go on that, and we'll see. Okay, Mark. It's great to talk to you again, though.
Amy.
Love you too. It's Mark Kasen who wants to be targeted by President Trump. Give him Mark Kasen's 15 seconds of fame. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Well, I had a great reunion of sorts with Sean from Grasser Electric today. Haven't seen him in a long time, but during that long time, I had a long list. I always tell you guys about the great thing to do with Grasser Electric. And this is Grasser Home Services now. Because I'm having the plumbing side of Grasser come over to the house tomorrow for a couple of things. So I really love Shane, the Grasser brand that he has created, and now Josh has taken over, and you hear Barrett on the air here every once in a while, and it's just a great family, and I'm so privileged that they have supported my brand of Common Sense Radio for now 21 years. I mean, it's just amazing. Going back to 2005, I have been alongside the Grasser family, and I'm really just amazed. So Sean, who actually, it's gotten to the point where Sean knows my home. He's like, oh, yeah, I worked on that one time before that, because something broke, and then he had to fix it, and then the other part of it broke. Oh, yeah, I've been there. So anyway, I had a whole list of things that I had him do. A couple of these outlets I had that were loose. I don't know how long that we've lived with these loose outlets. You know how annoying that can be because then they don't hold a plug and all that kind of stuff. He switched those over to GFC and everything else. Those are great. He put Lily, who always knows what she wants, 16 years old, she knows what she wants. She wanted this kind of like this glamour mirror that has the light around it, that installed. And so she told me what to order. I went ahead and ordered it, got it. Sean put that in. and made a couple of adjustments to some of the other things so that it looked absolutely seamless. It looks great. Can't wait till Lily gets home from school to see what Sean has done. He put in, I had to have a new porch light put in because for some reason in St. Louis around springtime, it's wind tunnel time, and like it blew literally my porch light off the front. So I had to buy a new porch light. He put that one in for me and adjusted my lights for the pool. So turn that on, activated those so that when, it's the dusk to dawn lights, all that kind of stuff. So I had a whole list of things for him to do. I have a similar list for Jake, the plumber, to do, but really love what Grass Electric is doing, and I know that they'll do a great job for you. I messaged Josh right after Sean left. I said, man, this has been a great experience. I'll make sure I review it all on Google and everything else. And so if you guys have ever been with Grasser, I encourage you to Google review them. But I want you to call them most of all for anything. No job too big or too small. Grasser Home Services also works with people who are in the business world. So you got a small business, whatever, you need help there. You need help with expansion, a room addition, whatever it happens to be, Grasser will do all the wiring for you or rewiring for you or whatever you want. GrasserElectric.com. That's GrasserElectric.com.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home, too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. The Allman Report, sponsored by Window World, 800 Get Windows.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's interesting. In normal, just back and forth, It's one of the reasons why, like, for instance, the people like at the Southern Poverty Law Center and others who utilize all that, how really, really evil they are, because they know that when left to our own devices, most people are just, kind of like who they are. It's kind of like that kind of thing. Most people are really normal people. When you get into an elevator with a black person, you don't start talking about reparations, right? Or nooses found someplace. It just doesn't work that way. And so most normal people just get along. Everybody would. And I'll give you an example of that. So last night, I went because I was, after getting the Capitol, I went to grab a Hendrix Martini from the person, Linda, who works there at the hotel. She makes some good ones, and so I just had to grab one. It just so happens there was another woman there who was lobbying for, she worked for some organization for people with developmental disabilities. Really sweet woman, and from Rolla. And then Paul Berry, you guys remember Paul Berry? He arrived, and Paul Berry's just, my kind of crazy. He's a great guy. Love him, and he was there too. So anyway, talking to the woman, and she's really nice, by the way. Like, she's somebody who I would get along with, have a drink with, whatever, just, socializing business-wise, whatever. And so she's just a really good person. And talked about all this stuff. We talked about people with disabilities and that kind of thing. And then it got into something, I don't know whether Paul mentioned it or something. And she was like, I hate Donald Trump. I'm like, oh. But you know what? It didn't change she didn't call him a Nazi and things like Mark Kasen, but she just hated him, And there are people who are triggered by Trump, and I get it. And in the same time, it's not disqualifying. Obviously, I don't live with her. I really probably couldn't do that. You know what I mean? But what I mean is, just in terms of just everyday kind of interactions, I accept that there are people who are, going to have that feeling. I think it comes also from my mom. My mom and I had really fun discussions about President Trump because she really did not like him at all. And I think it's because my mom is from that generation. She's from like the Mad Men generation, the 60s and stuff like that. And President Trump really did remind her of people like my dad, who they got divorced, so you know where that's going. And those kind of guys. And so she didn't like that. It's so much of it is personal. So much of the dislike of President Trump has nothing to do sometimes with his policies or anything else. It's personal. I don't know what Mark's psychological problem is as it relates to him, but like a lot of guys who hate Donald Trump really have no issue with his policies. They just don't like the fact that President Trump holds a mirror to them and they are revealed to be a bunch of beta, wimpy males. And so, and I've done this psychoanalysis before, but I think a lot of guys are intimidated by Trump's masculinity and his jocularity and his power. It's just that simple. That's a lot of TDS syndrome, especially guys like 40 plus who hate Trump. That's their whole thing. The guys 40 and under who hate Trump only hate Trump because their girlfriends do. So that's the only thing to do. And then the women, though, 40 and above, love Trump. And that also doesn't help it when the guy who's a beta and wimpy is intimidated by Trump, and then his wife likes Trump, and that makes him even more mad. And then he goes crazy. But so that's kind of part of it. But so much of it is really personal. I think there were people who, I do think like Obama's policies were really bad for the country, and he even admitted they were going to be bad for the country. How could you ever hear from President Trump that, your electric bills will necessarily skyrocket? Your electric bills will necessarily skyrocket by my policies. It's like he doesn't even care, right? You never hear President Trump say that. Oh, this is going to cost you more money. That's all there is to it. But it is what it is. It's my policy. That's not it. He didn't even say that with gas because we know it's all going to go down in price. But, Obama, in some ways, people didn't like him because, and there was part of that. Obama was kind of arrogant, but I defended him too on a couple of occasions. The only time I really ever defended Obama was when I said, let him smoke outside the White House, okay? He's the president of the United States. Let him have a cig. That was the only time I really actually defended Obama. That and when Michelle Obama was trying to cut his you-know-what's off all the time. That was about it. But generally, his attitude. And, of course, Joe Biden's policies were not only reprehensible, but he was also reprehensible. He looked like someone who you could not trust or anything like that. And so, he was President Trump, on the other hand, yeah, I could see how some people might not like his personality traits or whatever, but there are a lot of really good aspects of his life that, in terms of how his results, that you can look past that. You can really look past that with Obama and Biden, as reprehensible as they were. Let me get real quickly to keep on trucking here, and then we're going to check in with our Show Me Institute friends on the other side of this as well. But listen to this, you people. This happened during the California gubernatorial debate. And so watch what happens when these guys respond to the question of should language proficiency for truck drivers be strictly enforced? Because you all know California had a ton of problems. People were getting these CDLs. They couldn't even read or speak English, and they wound up killing people on the highways. But this is Tom Steyer, who's the really creepy millionaire running for governor.
Mr. Steyer, where do you draw the line on this? Should language proficiency for truckers be strictly enforced, even if it means that some of them will probably lose their jobs? You have 60 seconds.
Look, I agree with what was said, which is we don't know the context of this stop. But what I can say is this: racial profiling is illegal. And in fact...
So that's Tom Steyer's viewpoint, that if somebody is called upon to speak English to get the privilege of having a commercial driver's license, that's akin to racial profiling. Here's what Katie Porter said.
Porter, same question. Do you believe that English proficiency, language proficiency should be strictly enforced for truck drivers? You have 60 seconds.
I would absolutely fight the Trump administration, because the job of the California governor is to protect Californians. And right now, that includes protecting them from Donald Trump. Protecting Californians also includes enforcing traffic laws. And we've seen sometimes a need for oversight in California. For example, we have seen that the Department of Motor Vehicles was not enforcing rules around DUIs and drivers who had convictions for that. I am stunned that Mr. Bianco would say to Black and brown Californians and immigrants who are being terrorized and racially profiled that you have to get over racism.
That's not exactly what he said, but the fact of the matter is that's what you're getting from some of the California gubernatorial people, is they have no candidates. They have no intention of requiring foreigners to speak English and even read it before hopping into a multi-ton vehicle that already has been responsible at the hands of someone who doesn't speak English or read English, been responsible for the deaths of people on the roads, Americans. And in one case, these were immigrants who were killed by these people who were here and getting CDLs even though they couldn't even read English. So there you go. That's the future of California. Maybe could be that the Republicans are going to grab this, and that would be great. All right, coming up, ladies and gentlemen, the Show Me Institute has some info for you that you're going to need. It's coming up here on the Allman Report, News Talk STL.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Stars. I love Bud Starr. Bud Starr's a cool dude. He's just like us. And you can walk in when you want to go and get your liquor, your wine, or your trout dip, or your fresh fish flown in twice a week. And these are from both coasts. So that fish looks great. Grouper, red snapper, all this great stuff, shrimp, you name it, right there at Stars. It's right off of 40 at Big Bend, and it's a good destination place for you. I always do talk about Stars on a Thursday because it's a great place to go if you are kind of stocking up for a weekend of entertainment or maybe just hanging out. Finally, you're going to kind of open up the patio and have some people over, whatever. You go there, you can stock up on all these gourmet foods. They have these great, beautiful, crackers and things like that, things to snack on. The trout dip is something I really love. That trout dip is amazing, and it's delicious, and it's made right there on the premises of Stars. And, of course, the fish case is always great, and they've got multiple cheeses, olives, you name it for you there. The wine selection is fantastic, and it doesn't matter whether you are a high-priced wine person or just a mid-priced wine person or even a low-priced wine person. Bud will guide you, keep you in that direction, and get you the best wines and drinks you're going to find. Their liquor selection is amazing. Their prices are beautiful. As I told you, I've never spent less money on Hendricks than I have at Stars. It's pretty amazing right then and there. And, of course, they have a great beer selection as well. So it's Stars Gourmet Food. And, by the way, not everything is gourmet. Like, for instance, they do have certain types of tonics and club sodas that, if you like those kind of specially made ones, yeah. But they've also got vests there. So there's a lot of stuff for you if you just like the everyday stuff on top of some of the more gourmet stuff. So it's right there at Stars, right off of 40 on Big Bend in Richmond Heights. Thank you, Bud Star, for supporting free, common sense, conservative radio.
Hey, it's Chris Arps. Becky and I recently discovered a restaurant that's quickly become one of our go-to restaurants, Timothy's in Creve Coeur. Led by executive chef Will Mabry, Timothy's serves contemporary American cuisine with a touch of Southern charm. Dishes like pastrami, smoked lamb, and shrimp and grits. My wife absolutely loved the lobster pot pie, and everything we've tried has been incredible. Amazing house-made desserts and over 500 wines to choose from. Enjoy dinner 7 nights a week, plus lunch, brunch, and private events. Timothy's in Creve Coeur at 12710 Olive Boulevard or online at timothysstl.com.
What if Missouri eliminated its income tax entirely?
Find out how at the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall.
Hosted by News Talk STL's own Mike Ferguson.
Joined by Senator Nick Schroer and Representative Ben Keithley.
Come ready with your questions and get the facts on the plan to phase out Missouri's income tax for good.
Thursday, April 30th at the Lodge de Pere, presented by AFP Missouri and Mo Tax Relief Now.
RSVP today at afpmissouri.com. That's afpmissouri.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Remember when food tasted like home? When breakfast was made from scratch and dessert was worth saving room for? At Shorty's Diner, we're serving up down-home breakfasts, lunches, and desserts just like Mom used to make. Fresh, from scratch, every single day. Step back in time with us, where the booths are cozy, Elvis is always in the building, and every plate feels like a hug. On Lackland and Westport, or online at shortysdiners.com. Shorty's Diner. It's not fancy. It's not fat-free. It's just the way it used to be.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story when I almost died in a West Texas oil field.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Buckingham Pest Control and Insulation.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. And I'm so happy to have David Stokes with me from the Show Me Institute. And I'm so glad that he's talking about this because I saw this story and this was really a little bit infuriating to me because there was this idea to kind of expand, the food truck, stuff right around Busch Stadium and everything else. And well, that sounds like a good idea to kind of create some vibrancy downtown around the stadium, everything else. And the alderman put it forth, and suddenly the Cardinals are like, no. I'm thinking, oh, you got to be kidding me. David Stokes, what's going on here, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jamie. Thanks for having me on the air, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, we need more food trucks. We need more food trucks throughout the St. Louis region. and that includes downtown, and that includes by the ballpark. About 20 years or so ago, when the new stadium was built, the city gave the Cardinals control. I'm putting control in air quotes over vending on the streets outside of the stadium, not just their own property, where of course they deserve control, but the area around it. And it's time to get rid of that rule. I mean, that rule was probably never a good idea, but now it's bad. And as you said, where food trucks can operate downtown is very limited right now. It's limited to a part on Market Street near the sculpture park. Maybe think like Market in 7th, 8th, 9th, around there.
Yeah.
But we that's where people see them, and that's fine. But there's no reason they should be able to operate closer to the soccer stadium, closer to the Blues games, closer to the ballpark. I mean, using government to limit competition is a bad idea. And these food trucks pay taxes. They meet the same health code regulations as restaurants. You know, they're taxable like anything else. They may not pay as many taxes as a restaurant, but that doesn't matter. I mean, we want people to go downtown and have fun options and things to do. Half the restaurants downtown have closed since COVID.
Yeah.
But people need these food options. So it's time to change the rules and allow food trucks throughout downtown.
Well, and some of the
rest of the area.
Yeah, some of the restaurants have closed also because of Ballpark Village. So you had a bunch of people, Missourians, who they took their tax dollar to support Ballpark Village and the stadium. And you say that some of these food truck people pay taxes. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them paid taxes a while back, and some of their taxes were used to create the Cardinal monolith that is now trying to keep them away. And so I just think, and man, you mentioned that thing that happened 20 years ago. It sounds illegal, tell you the truth, to make a bargain like that with somebody. I don't know how that whole thing happened. I'd love to know more about that. But I think your comment about how the government should never be involved in limiting competition, man, that's right on, brother.
Well, and let's be fair to the Cardinals here. They're not the only ones opposing the expansion of food trucks in the city of St. Louis and throughout the region. I mean, existing restaurants, and I love going to restaurants. I love to eat out, but existing restaurants actively oppose the food truck expansion. And again, there are some traffic-related restrictions that are okay. You can't have a food truck parking at a crowded intersection and blocking traffic.
Yeah.
But as long as they can put themselves in places that don't block traffic, I mean, I don't care if it's close to an existing restaurant. Like, that's competition. You don't let a large restaurant say you can't open a small restaurant near me. You shouldn't allow restaurants to say you can't open a food truck near me. If that's what people want, you should give them these options. So it's not only the Cardinals, it's the restaurant industry as well. And I've been told on social media that, the Soulard Bar and Restaurant are very active in opposing food trucks, and I'm sure that's true.
Yeah, that's really too bad, because you'd think that especially people in the realm of restaurateuring and of food and everything else would love to have so much more variety and support their fellow restaurateurs, whether they're in a truck or not. You'd hope that was the case, but obviously that's not the case. I think we felt that way with the dispensaries who suddenly didn't like people who grew hemp and everything else because they didn't own it. So I guess that's just the way of the world right now. So what do you think is the end game here? I know that the alderman said, I think it was Rasheen Aldridge, I think he said that it was kind of put on hold, but it's not dead.
Well, I hope the new aldermanic session starts tomorrow, I think. Hopefully the bill will be reintroduced, and hopefully they'll go forward with it, with or without the Cardinals' support. Like, the Cardinals aren't elected officials. They're an interest group, and an important interest group, but just one interest group. So I would love to see the elected officials on the Board of Aldermen and then the mayor sign a bill to dramatically expand food truck authority in the city of St. Louis. And again, I don't want to just pick on the city of St. Louis either. We have these limits in suburbs, cities throughout the region. This one's about the city of St. Louis. Downtown with the sporting event gets more attention, and that's perfectly fair. So I want to see this bill reintroduced and passed to give young entrepreneurs and small businesses and shoppers and hungry people more options. And then I'd love to see that same thing followed through in Clayton and every other part of the region.
Well, and David Stokes, we all know the concept of marketing. I mean, like, there's a reason why there's a Home Depot on one corner, a Menards on the other corner, and some other place on another corner. It's because these guys all build around each other. It's kind of like pizza places. Down in Pacific, for instance, they've got a Pizza Hut, they've got a Domino's, and I think they have another one right across the street, literally within like 50 feet of each other, because the concept here is, well, I'm going to build where I think people are going to like look for home improvement. I'm going to build right next to a place where people are going to look for pizza, and I'll let the chips fall where they may. And so it seems to me like the more food available, you're getting people down there. You're creating, you're going where you're getting people who are going where the food is. It sounds like a great idea. So anyway.
I don't have anything more to add to that, James. I agree with you 100%.
Right on. Well, I think the uniquity of Show Me Institute, though, I don't want anybody else around Show Me. You guys do a great job all on your own. It's always great to listen to you when you're popping on the Tim Jones and Christopher Arp show. And so we'll pay attention to this. I'm glad you guys brought it up. I haven't had a chance to talk about this at all, but can always count on you to be bird dogging some of this really important stuff that just kind of sometimes passes people by. Like, people will see a headline in the newspaper, not pay attention to it, but I think it's a big story with a lot of ramifications for perhaps other communities as well. So, David Stokes, thanks so much, brother.
My pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you. We got a lot of video. There's no subject we've done more videos on at Show Me Institute than food trucks. So showmeinstitute.org and check out what we've got.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. I will check that out, too. I'm very interested in that, and thanks for all that. Appreciate you as always.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
showmeinstitute.org. Yeah, I was down in Pacific because I was getting down there to Sinclair Jeep, and I was getting something fixed. I was walking around, and I was going, it's really interesting how there's this pizza place right here and a pizza place right next to each other. And, of course, it just reaffirmed the whole marketing concept, because a lot of people wonder, why would they build a Menards right across the street from a Home Depot? It's like, because that's where people are going to look for home improvement stuff and gardening stuff, and that gives them choices, and so they might even make the choice of you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the show. Ashlyn, thank you as well. And coming up, the great Tony Colombo. Colombo and company. Have a beautiful and blessed rest of your day. This is Common Sense Radio.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs, attorney at law, has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs, attorney at law. Call 636-949